These 5 fixes could be the difference between a visitor to your nonprofit website making a donation or not. Hi everyone, I'm Ricardo Ibarra with Market Your Mission, where I bring my 20 years of experience in the design and marketing industry to help you grow your volunteer base and make more money from donors online. Let's get into the 5 fixes that I think your website might be needing to help you attract and convert more donors online. All right, number 1 is make it fast. Make it fast. This has to be number 1 because when someone visits your website, whether they're a returning visitor or they're a brand new visitor because of your social media or your outreach or your marketing campaigns, the first thing they want to see is your website. And if it takes too long, if it takes more than 3 to 5 seconds to load your website, chances are they're going to say, forget it, and they're going to move on. That's because we are all so conditioned to fast website loading speeds. We want the information we want and we want it right now. So making sure that your website is super fast and loads quickly is vitally important to make sure that donors want to give to your nonprofit. One of the ways you can evaluate your website speed is through Google Webmaster Tools. Now that requires a little bit of quick setup, but there's plenty of tutorials online. I recommend using Google Webmaster Tools, and there is a page speed evaluation tab where you can see how well your website is performing and how quickly it's loading across different browsers. Now this is so important because we're often browsing the web on mobile. Imagine you're tabling at a farmer's market or you're hosting a community event and there's lots of new people around and they're Googling your organization or they're typing your URL into their mobile device. Well, if it takes them a while to load your website, they might decide to move on or go back to Instagram or do something else, and you've lost a potential donor. So number 1 is to make it fast. One way you can do this is to use web-optimized images. So instead of just uploading an image to the web and just figuring it out or thinking that that'll be good, aim to upload an image that is less than 1400 pixels on the long edge. Typically that's about a 1 to a 2 megabyte image. That's a large image. When possible, or when you're using a small image for maybe a sidebar or a call out or a design accent, try and use a smaller image so that your website will load more quickly. And a personal pet peeve of mine is the auto-playing video background. Oh my goodness, this is so inconsiderate to mobile users or users who are on broadband internet, maybe in more rural areas. So do not autoplay a video under any circumstance. I know it looks really cool. It's not only great for, it's not great for accessibility concerns, but it also starts using bandwidth and will slow your page load time. So if you want to have a video on your web page, absolutely embed it, but don't set it to autoplay, so then the user can load the page quickly and choose whether they want to watch the video or not. Okay, the number 2 fix on how to get more donors to give on your website is to show them why. Show them why they should give to you. And what I mean by this is every page on your website should explain to donors why they should donate to your nonprofit. Yes, even your about page, even your contact page, and especially your program page. I see so many nonprofits who have fairly well-developed program pages, but they're only speaking to the people that they want to serve with those programs, or they're only talking about the results the program has created in the community, say a waterway cleanup, or some other kind of common good activity. Well, your potential donors are reading those program pages to learn more about what you do and whether they want to support your mission. Now, I'm not saying you have to turn every program page into a full sales page, inspiring people to donate with lots of stories and examples and metrics and lots of direct calls to action. But I am saying that on every page of your website should have a reminder to the people reading that web page that, hey, we're a nonprofit and we need your donations. We also need your volunteer time. So that was number 2. Number 3 is Tell them how. This goes hand in hand with number 2, show them why. Tell them how is you explain to the website visitor reading that page exactly what you want them to do. This is called a call to action. And usually you're asking for money, or you're asking a potential volunteer to sign up, or you're asking people to register for an event. This is so important and so simple, but yet it's often missed in nonprofits because they're so busy talking about their program and the good work they're doing, they forget that there's a human reading on the other side of the screen, and they forget to tell them in clear and simple terms exactly how they can support your mission. So for example, the volunteer sign-up form. Above that, it should say something like, signing up as a volunteer for our next waterway cleanup party is simple. 1, complete this form on this page. Send us your name and email address. 2, one of our staff will reach out to schedule your help on our next cleanup. And 3, here's the kicker, the last step should always be something that benefits the person you're speaking to. So number 3 would be, enjoy creating cleaner waterways for our community. So number 1 is sign up on this form. Number 2, one of our staff will reach out to schedule with you. And number 3 is enjoy the good feeling knowing that you've created clean waterways for our community. So this simple process, you can do this for donations, you can do this for people signing up for your programs. And of course, using the example I just gave you, you can use this to inspire people to volunteer. And now that critical piece that I highlighted, the last step in telling them how, the last step should be the final result. So let me give you another example. On your donate page, it should say somewhere, donating is really easy. Number 1, choose how much you want to give. Number 2, fill out our simple, secure online donation form. Number 3, provide books to kids. Or number 3, ensure that art students have the supplies they need. Or number 3, make our community more welcoming for everyone. The number 3, or the final step in that simplified process, should be the direct, tangible outcome of their donation. So in this case, they're giving you money, but the result of that is art supplies for kids, or making sure that the local library has lots of books, or that the community is safer. Those are the outcomes. So that's part of tell them how, is you need to clearly call them to action and explain exactly how to take that action. Number 4 on my fixes that'll get more donors to give on your nonprofit website is guide their eye. Guide their eye. Now this is choosing high contrast colors for your buttons and your call to action text to make sure that your message stands out. I recommend using a high contrast button for the most important action that you want the visitor to take on every single page. So for example, on my website, I often have bright yellow buttons with dark blue text on top of it. Or I'll invert that. I'll use a dark blue button on a light background with white text. That's high contrast. You want to make sure that it's high contrast so that it stands out on the page, because often our web pages, there's images, there's text, there's design elements. You want that button to be super, super obvious. And what should that button do? It should help them volunteer, donate, or sign up. You don't want to use buttons to have them download your annual report or visit another page on your website. You want to save that high contrast primary button for the big action you want them to take, and that should be donate, volunteer, or sign up. Now you may be saying, Ricardo, what about other buttons on the page? I want them to do all sorts of things. Okay, that's great. That's when you use a secondary button. And some folks call this a hollow button, because what you'll do is you'll choose one high contrast color. In the case of my website, it's usually a dark blue, and I'll have a dark blue button outline, and then the text will also be dark blue. There's no color inside the button. And that's helpful for a secondary call to action because it takes up less visual weight. Imagine a heavy dark blue button with white text over it. That's the primary button. Now imagine a hollow button, just an outline button with the text inside of it. That's the secondary button. So you can use a primary button and a secondary button to kind of provide different visual prominence on your page, but make sure you're only using that primary button for the one big action you want the website visitor to take. Save the other calls to action for secondary activities, things that aren't quite as important or critical for text links, and using that hollow button style. Okay, the final website fix to help make donors give more is make it easy. You want to make your donation process as easy and simple as possible, because the more friction, the more trouble, the more they have to think things through and figure things out how to give you money, the fewer people are going to give you money. One of the easiest way to do this is to make sure that your donation form is on the same page where you ask them to donate. So if you should have a donate page on your website, and on your donate page, it really needs to have the donate form right there on that page. Some folks link to it on a different website or a different hosting platform. Right there, hello kitty, right there, anywhere, anytime you're sending a visitor off your website to another website, you might lose them. So one best practice is to keep the donation page right on the donate page. Keep the donation form right on the donate page. Okay, the other thing to do is only collect the important information you need to capture their donation. I've seen donate forms that have all sorts of bells and whistles and questions that they want people to answer. No, you need name, address, email, credit card info. Boom, that's it. Keep it as simple as possible. Because we also know from website usability studies that the more form fields someone has to fill out, the less likely they are to make it to the end of the form. And if we're talking about new donors, first-time donors, people you've inspired with your content and your website on the internet who don't have a deep connection to your mission, any point of friction might send them away. They might go, I'm too frustrated, I'm just gonna go do something else. So you wanna make sure that your website donation process is as easy and frictionless and simple as possible. All right, thanks so much for tuning in to the 5 website fixes that get more donors to give. Let's recap 5 website fixes to help donors give more. Number 1, make it fast. You want your website to load quickly and simply for your website visitors, especially on mobile. So avoid using large images and don't autoplay any videos. Number 2, show them why. Make sure that you are clearly communicating to the desires and values of your ideal donors, and every page on your website should ask the donor to give. Yes, even your program pages. Make sure that you have a small section on every page that reminds folks, hey, it's really important for you to make a donation to support programs like this. Number 3 is tell them how. I shared with you how to communicate online in such a way that makes it really, really easy for folks to donate. And we talked about the importance of call to action language that will clearly explain how to give to your mission. Number 4, guide their eye. We talked about choosing high contrast colors and using a primary button and a secondary button to make sure that your donors and website visitors know exactly how to give to your mission. And number 5, make it easy. Be sure to simplify your donation process so that you don't lose any visitors. You don't make them frustrated with your process, so you can make sure to capture all the inspired donations that they want to make. If you want to learn more about how to improve your website, be sure to check out the link below for my free guide, How to Turn Your Nonprofit Website into a 24/7 Fundraiser Without Hiring a Marketing Team. It'll walk you through the exact 5-step process that I use every time I build a website for a nonprofit. So click the link below to download that for free, and I'll see you in the next video.